So today I'm taking you through a full tutorial of how to make puff printed vinyl t-shirts. I wish I had this tutorial because it took me about 2 weeks to try and figure out how to get the puff vinyl to work and stop messing it up every single time. And I couldn't get it consistent. I didn't realise why it wasn't consistent. And there's a couple of factors that the main reasons why either your puff printing isn't consistent. Sometimes it comes out all like shriveled and looks veiny almost. And then sometimes it comes out absolutely perfect. So today I'm going to tell you how to get that perfect print every single time, and I'm going to show you the types of vinyl that I'm using. I'm going to show you where to buy it. It's very cheap. I think you can get like a 10-foot roll or something like that for £8. It's great if you've got a clothing brand or something like that. If you're selling clothing on Etsy or any sort of online marketplace as well, this is perfect for it because it gives you that little edge over what everyone else is doing, because everyone has like the standard boring print t-shirts, but no one really has that 3D stuff. And you might see brands like Boken Planet, blah, blah, blah. But anyway, let's just get into it. So I'm not going to waste too much time with this tutorial. I'm trying to be as quick and concise as possible and tell you the factors that you need to take into account when making your puff printed tees. Quick plug first of all, I have my own fulfillment company. So I'll put that in the top link in the description, edpod.co. We fulfill everything print on demand, no matter what you want to sell. If you want to sell some kitchenware, if you want to sell picture frames, if you want to sell wardrobes, we will supply it for you. Engraving, anything. Just shoot us a message on the WhatsApp on the website. Or if you want your clothing like this, like we're doing today, then we can do that for you as well. Anyway, plug is out of the way now. Let me show you my t-shirt. So the two t-shirts I've got is, we've got a Gildan soft style t-shirt. This one, it's just like a standard Gildan tee. It probably costs about £2 or £3 at wholesale. It's very, very cheap. And it's pretty high quality as well. It's reasonable quality. I could understand paying something like 20 quid for this. I'd say it's similar to the quality you get from tees, brands like North Face. Is a very similar quality t-shirt. I'm not sure the actual SKU, but I think it's just like a soft style wash tee, 100% cotton. What you need to know first of all is what material you're using, because the material that you're using or printing onto is basically dependent on how long you're going to have to hold it there for, or how much pressure you're going to use, or how much heat you're going to have to use as well. Because some types of t-shirts are like polyester, and for most of the work that I do is on, I think, like a 90%, 10% polyester, poly spandex sort of combination. And I don't really use 100% cotton stuff because that's just not what I typically print stuff onto. So yeah, my stuff is going to be a little bit different. So this is going to be a learning experience for me, myself. I'm going to have to figure out what sort of pressure I need to use, what sort of temperatures I need to use to print on these tees. So what I'm going to be using today is a puff vinyl. As you can see here, it's a pink vinyl. We're going to go with pink. I've got a couple of other colours in stock at the moment as well, black and red and white as well. But I thought we'd go with pink because it's a little bit different. I don't really want to do like a standard, boring red, black, pink. I wear some pink clothes as well, as gay as it is or whatever. But yeah, I think pink would look pretty cool, look pretty unique and make it stand out as well. So what the design I'm actually putting on there is an edpod.co website logo as well. So if I can make it stand out more people are going to look at it, so that's even better. So this is my vinyl card here. It's a Pixmax 720. So you can see I've got the red and the black vinyl loaded up there already. So I'm just going to unload that, and then I'm going to put my pink vinyl into there right now. We got it loaded in now. One thing that you need to know, I didn't actually know this, you need to cut on the non-coloured side. So I figured out why is it not working. And then I realised I was cutting on the coloured side, which isn't what you want to do. You want to cut on this side, because this is the actual back of the vinyl. This is the glue that will go onto the t-shirt, and then this is what will show on the front of the t-shirt. So let's just have a look. So this is the design that I've got. Notice this camera isn't mirrored. This is mirrored. It has to be mirrored, because obviously when you're cutting on the back side of the vinyl, it's going to flip over, and then you're going to have a backwards design on your t-shirt. That's why it needs to be backwards on your cutting software. So I've got it set to 23 centimeters wide, and it's just going to cut across here. One thing to note as well is that you do need a little bit of room on either side, top, bottom, and both sides of the vinyl. You don't want your design going right up to the edges or right up onto the front here. It needs to have a little bit of room, otherwise the vinyl just won't work. It needs to have like a little bit of plastic going around the outsides. So make sure your design isn't right up to the edges on one of the sides, or make sure it doesn't just go over the edge or just really close to the edge. You need to probably have like a centimetre at least on each side for the vinyl to actually stick to the t-shirt. I've already cut too close to the edge. You can see that the design is literally going right up to the edges, and same with this bit here as well. You can't really see it, but it's going right up to the edge. That's too close. But you know what? I can't really do it again because I think this design is just a little bit too big for this vinyl. probably should have cut it the other way. My mistake, but we're going to try it anyway. We're going to see how it goes. I've got one T-shirt to destroy before we do the actual T-shirt. So I've got two here. I've got this one, and then I've got this one as well. So we're going to use one to destroy. I think we're going to use... we're going to destroy this one and use this as a test T-shirt. And then we're going to use this one as our actual T-shirt because this is the men's size. Or the size that fits me, at least. Okay, so here's our double design at the moment, as you can see. So we've got two edpod.co's, we make it. One thing to know is that you always should, when you're using puff vinyl, is make the text either less bold or slightly smaller than what you want it to be, because it will get larger, and this is going to look a lot more bold when I put it onto the T-shirt. So you can see now it doesn't look super bold, and this, I'm really worried about this because it might be too thick still. I was worried that it's going to be too small to cut out, but it looks quite good here. But I'm worried that when this smaller text gets bigger, when we heat it up, it might not be readable, but we're going to figure out that when we get to it. What I'm going to do is I have a test patch of vinyl here. So as you can see, I've got the test patch, right? And what I'm going to do to test my vinyl, my heat press, and test how I'm going to apply it, is I'm going to cut out this small square here. As you can see, we get the scissors, we're going to cut it out, and we're going to try weed it. Let's see if this works. So the reason I do this is like a sample patch. I'm going to do this in the inside of the T-shirt so you won't really be able to see it. But just to see, okay, if I press this hard, I'm going to try to press as hard as I can and use the settings for my heat press that I think are going to be right. And we're going to see if it works. And if it doesn't work, then we've got to do another test patch and then figure it out. So you're going to see what I'm going to do now. I'm going to grab the sample T-shirt, which is why we had two T-shirts, and then we'll go from there. Okay, hello. So it's been a couple of days. Couple of things happened, blah, 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 so on and so forth. It doesn't really matter. But anyway, we're back now, and we're now making these T-shirts, putting the final bits together. We've done the important bit, which is the cutting of the vinyl, and we have our test patch as well. Our test patch that we're going to use on a different T-shirt. But one thing to know, because this is the most important thing that I didn't actually realise makes a difference when you're using puff vinyl. When you're using normal vinyl on T-shirts, this doesn't really matter, but puff vinyl, it's the most important thing that no one on YouTube seemed to talk about. And I think it's because they were using a type of press which just applied a X pressure by standard, and it worked really well. However, if you're using a device like I am, which is it's over here, which is the Cricut handheld press, not one of those stampy ones, then you will have to apply this pressure trick, because the most important thing that actually changes how well this puff vinyl turns out is the pressure that you're using on it. So if you press really lightly, it's not going to work well. The way I found generally works best, but it depends on the type of material that you're printing onto, is that you use the max amount of pressure. And the most important thing is that you're using the max amount of pressure first thing. So you don't just slowly apply more pressure. You need to, as soon as it's on there, you need to press as hard as you can. Like literally, I put all of my body weight on there and then start doing press ups on it as well to start applying more weight. That's the most important thing, because otherwise it's going to come out all veiny and it's going to bring this, I call it a veiny look. You might call it like wriggly, like it looks like little worms in your print, which doesn't look good. And you want it to be as smooth as it can possibly get, because when it's smooth, it looks fantastic. So that's what we're trying to look for and achieve. We're going to use this sample first. What I'm going to try is I'm going to try 155 degrees Celsius, and I'm going to try it for, let's try 9 seconds to start with. And I'm going to try absolute maximum pressure, and we're going to see how it turns out. Well, let me show you a close-up. We've made it veiny. So now we're going to go again. I'm going to do a different test, different pressure, and figure out how am I going to get these veins away. If we look at attempt 1, that's attempt 1, very, very veiny. Attempt 2, less veiny, but more spotty. You can see the actual puffiness is now coming through first the first one, which is just fully veiny. We don't want that. We want to work towards something which is smoother, like this. So after testing various different methods, I finally figured it out, right? So now we've got a good few samples. We did a total of 5 spot tests, I guess we can call them, to eventually figure it out. Let me show you them close up. So this is where we started, and then we moved on to this, and we moved on to this one, and then this one was kind of a regression. This one here, on the bottom right, was kind of backwards. It didn't really work. So I changed it up again, and now we finished on this one. Look at that, that's pretty much perfect. To be honest, with this type of vinyl, we're not going to get much of a better finish than that. If you want to know the technique I used, I used a quicker application of pressure, which meant basically when you apply pressure too slowly, that happens. The wrinkling happens. You don't want the wrinkling to happen. So I applied pressure really quickly and I put it on a really low temperature. It's 35 degrees lower than the first temperature that we started out with. That was clearly too hot. And then this is our finished copy. We can just see the differences here. I'll show them up all in the lighting so you can see them. Look at that. You can just see the progression. Worst to best. This is my first provisional copy and I'm behind the camera right now. I'm going to show you, let me know what you think of it, first thoughts. This is our first copy and we're going to do another one on my actual t-shirt. Hopefully it comes out a little bit better than this, but look at that. That is pretty much spot on. We got the edpod.co sign, we make it at the bottom. Look at that, and the bottom stuff turned out pretty well as well. It's not super puffy, but it's not really going to be because it's kind of small. And the bigger, like if I used a massive patch of vinyl, it would probably come out like a puff that thick. Whereas at the moment, it's probably only a few millimeters. But look at it in the shadows. I can probably show you it. It's difficult to see on camera, but just look how thick that is. You can really see that there. And this is what people want on their t-shirts nowadays. If you've got a streetwear clothing brand or something along the lines of that, this is what you want. It just gives you that extra depth of field. I guess sort of the youth, this is what the youth want. I am the youth, but I don't really want this. But streetwear sort of stuff, this is cool. We finished. This is the final revision on the final full-size t-shirt. Let me put it on. Hopefully you found this video helpful because that is the aim. Because this is filling a gap which I didn't know how it worked. So this is the final copy. I'm trying to stand in the right lighting, so I'm not sure where it looks best. I'm also throwing my microphone around, so hopefully you can still hear me. But yeah, I'm not sure if you can see the t-shirt very well, the 3D effect very well, but hopefully you can understand what it looks like, and it looks fantastic in person. It's difficult to show the 3D effect on camera, but it does really look good. If you want more stories like this, make sure to subscribe as well. I post daily YouTube videos about talking about business, everything like that, etc. 18-year-old entrepreneur, day in the lives. Subscribe. Before I forget, if you do want to supply, you don't want to buy the expensive equipment, which will cost you around about £1,000 to get started with, check out my fulfillment company. It's called edpod.co. It's what I made this t-shirt for. It says edpod.co. We create products like this. If you do Etsy print on demand, we literally supply you any product, any engraving, anything you need, we can make for you. So message us on the website edpod.co. There's a phone number on there that will link you to a WhatsApp page, and you shoot us a message, tell us what you want to sell, and we'll give you a price back and a delivery time, how long it's going to take us to make it and deliver it to your door. Or to your customer's door as well. Of course, we do that.